Welcome to the Estate Professionals Mastermind podcast, built for real estate professionals that want to work less, earn more, and make an impact in their community. For information on how you can become part of the estate professionals community, visit probatemastery.com. Let's go ahead and get to our probate discussion today. So this is the Estate Professionals Mastermind. This is our weekly mastermind call, group coaching session. We're going to talk about getting your business into profit mode today. So I think all of us are here to generate profit, and I see some people that have well-established, successful real estate businesses. And I'm sure that there's some people here that are kind of new. You've never been in probate before, and you want to build it as its own standalone business, or maybe you're new in the real estate game and you're trying to just get your real estate practice up and running. So I don't know if you guys know who Dean Jackson is, but Dean Jackson is a real estate coach out of Florida. I was connected with Dean more loosely. I hadn't met him until recently, but I first heard of Dean in probably 2015 when I moved into my new market, and I used to go on these walks, and I would throw on I Love Marketing podcast every single day, and they had hundreds and hundreds of episodes that they'd recorded over the years, and I just found them, and it was Dean Jackson and Joe Polish. And if you guys haven't heard the I Love Marketing podcast, it's a phenomenal podcast, phenomenal, especially, and I think that they've got some good stuff now, but especially in the early days, in the early teens, they were doing these long form podcasts where they would have these advanced, sophisticated marketing conversations, long form, typically a couple of hours each. And they would talk through marketing and lead generation and nurturing your leads across industries. And of course, Dean came from a real estate background. Joe, oddly, came from a carpet cleaning background. I'd love to have one of them on the show one day. But Joe came from a carpet cleaning background. And if you can get a carpet cleaning company up and running the way that he did, you're doing something right, because that's not exciting at all. And he would have leads just pouring into his business because he'd educate them. And Dean would do a lot of the same things. So Dean had come up with a kind of a lead magnet or a system that was called the 8 profit activators. And it's something that I've tried to keep in mind and constantly go back to whenever I take my eye off of the ball in business. And this happens to us very frequently. We get busy with our day-to-day activities, and sometimes we take our eye off the ball and we aren't really focused on growing our audience, engaging our audience, or moving people into actually doing some business with you. So I want to talk a little bit about the profit activators that Dean discussed. And I'm not going to go over every single one of these, honestly, because I can't remember the exact 8 profit activators, but I'm going to go over a few of these that I try to build my business around and live my business life by. Does anyone else listen to I Love Marketing or know that podcast? No, Dean. Pretty good show, right? Bill, I don't know if you were wanting to chime in or if you were saying, hey, I do.
No, I mean, I've listened to it. I think it's really good. I think, I think that too many real estate agents do the same thing everybody does. And I think when you listen to experts in other fields, it gives you some good fundamentals and sharpens that up. So I think they are very good about marketing, and you do have to kind of translate to your business as a real estate agent. But I think it's really, really good.
Speaking of that, and before I jump into some of the profit activators, one of my favorite courses that I've taken was Jeremy Miner's 7 levels or NAPQ sales training course. It was really good, and it is not built for real estate agents at all. It is just a one-on-one sales training process where he goes through 7 types of engagement questions that make connections and move people into relationship with you and uncover pain points and uncover people's motivation. And we spend all our time just in real estate training. So we've got CE, we have certifications, we have programs, and it's constant real estate training. And I want you guys to do your real estate training. And if you haven't done Probate Mastery, I want you to do that. But listen, I recognize that there's a lot of other industries and a lot of other trainers that are not specifically in the real estate space that can be wildly valuable to your business, especially those in marketing and sales. Wildly valuable. I got so much for years. I got a lot out of Sandler sales training. Wasn't my favorite real estate sales training that's out there. It wasn't perfectly applicable, but I still got a lot out of Sandler, got a lot out of Jeremy Minor. There was a time when I was getting a lot out of Uncle Grant, Uncle G, Grant Cardone. I was just learning from all these people outside of the real estate space, and it really helped make me and the business a little bit of give us a bit of an identity that's different from the identity that most people in the real estate space have. So let's kind of jump into some of the profit activators and what you guys can do, what you need to be thinking about if you're going to move your business, whether it's the probate niche business or your real estate business as a whole, into profit. And the first step that Dean always covers is narrowing your audience. Why are we here? We are here with a narrowed audience. The majority of us are here talking about building a business or potentially probably building a business and taking the action steps to build a narrowly focused niche business in the probate and the estate space. So I would hope just by virtue of the fact that you're here, you already have a narrow focus and you select one target market at a time. At a time is the key word there, or the key phrase there, at a time. It does not mean narrow your focus and never look at anything else. It doesn't mean that. But it does mean you narrow your focus and you concentrate on that niche, on that target audience until you have your systems and your routine down, until you have your processes for generating the leads and the business that you want. Okay. So a lot of people that come to me and they say, hey, probate is going to be the only thing that I ever work. And I think that can potentially be great. Is there anyone here who only works probate and you have it dialed in to the point that you consider yourself successful at it and you don't want to add another niche? Is there anyone here that's working probate, you don't want to add another niche, and it's dialed in? Bill. I knew I would be talking to Bill with that. Okay. Is there anyone here that's dialed probate in and now maybe it's time to add a different niche because one is dialed in and you're looking to add? Or is there anyone here that has a different niche, a different target audience dialed in, and now you're adding probate? And I only have a handful of cameras on. If you guys are here and I can see you and you can wave at me and you can show me that you're either sleeping or not asleep, I'd love it. Okay. If you're sleeping, that's totally fine. At least it tells me to dial things up a little bit. So I'm going to ask that question again. Has anyone built a niche into your business and it's running smoothly, it's running well, and now you're looking to add probate? Or you added probate, it's running smoothly, and now you're potentially expanding into another niche? Hey, Michael White, go for it.
Yeah, hey, bro. So I'm really sort of transitioning more into seniors that are 65 plus at the sort of the beginning of the process, and then bringing probate into the backside of the process a little bit. There's a lot of interchangeability there. I just feel like I have the better opportunity to better influence decisions dealing with a senior that's 65 plus than I do someone that's going through probate. Seems to be a little bit easier for me to influence.
So, in a lot of cases, I could see that being the case. The bottom line is what you're describing is a valid business decision. I'm not going to say it's a decision that everyone needs to make, but it's valid. And a lot of times we're like, hey, I'm going to do a little bit of senior. I'm going to do a little bit of probate. I'm going to do a little bit of for sale by owner. I'm going to do a little bit of land. I'm going to do a little bit of buyer lead gen on Facebook. And you never really get good at any of it. So the buy Michael focusing in on the 65 plus community and the seniors, build that into your business, get your systems in, get it to where it can run without you to a degree. And then you add another niche if you want. Or you could be like Bill Gross and get probate where it's dialed in. You know your process. You've got the business giving you what you want out of it. And then you go, I don't want to add anything else. I want you guys to have that option though. And the first way to get that option is by narrowing first, building your systems before you ever even think about whether you want to stay where you are or add another niche. Hey, Luis.
Hi, Louise Thompson. I'm in East Central Indiana, kind of a rural area. I'm a senior real estate specialist, have kind of gravitated to seniors in the 6-7 years that I've been a real estate agent. I've added probate to kind of expand that, and sometimes my clients pass away or whatever, so I haven't done a lot of probate yet, but I'm learning all I can.
Yep. So you're in the zone where you are. You've kind of built out some systems target with a target audience in the senior space, and now you're expanding. You're adding another adjacent niche. It sounds like.
Yeah, I think I forgot to say I'm also a senior home coach.
Okay.
That's a very small niche of people that are doing that, but focusing more on the person than the transaction and trying to help them with the whole big picture for transitions.
Okay. So a home coach, is that how is that different from the kind of the senior real estate specialist?
I think the senior real estate specialist mostly focuses on the house, and I'm trying to help the whole person and look at everything holistically. And some people think that their home is their Alamo, and I'm trying to get them to make plans so that if there's an emergency or some sort of urgent change, they have a decision already made or information. Making a decision in a crisis, you don't always make the best decision. So
Absolutely.
Trying to help them be prepared and trying to help people prepare and not get in probate. So get your ducks in a row.
Yeah. So you're kind of on that estate planning side of everything, almost to a degree. You're on the estate planning side of everything. Let's help people avoid probate. Now you're adding, but if you end up with going through probate because your family member didn't plan, this is how we take care of it. So, and those two, the senior space and the probate space, do work hand in hand. It's the same service providers, it's the same type of services, it's the same type of ancillary, it's the same mindset, because when we go into probate, we're not walking into probate going, sell me this house as low as possible, or I'm only here to list the house. At least I hope that that's not what any of us are there for. We're there to legitimately help someone through a very challenging time that they probably weren't planning on. If they had planned on it, then they probably wouldn't be in probate. So we're helping them through a challenging time with the probate administration process, where we may help with repairs to a house, and we may help with property security, and I'm helping sell a car next week. I'm helping with paperwork very carefully right now, because helping with paperwork too much can technically be a practice of law, but I'm helping someone review their paperwork at the moment. So a lot more that goes into the probate niche than just, hey, let me get a contract signed or a listing agreement signed right now. So we in the 8 Profit Activators, we talk about narrowing our audience, and a lot of you guys have narrowed your audience. The next thing that we need to do, and this is something that we don't focus on a lot, and I feel like Bill Gross does a really good job of this, is the second Profit Activator is using direct response offers to compel people to call you. Now, Bill, I don't think that you necessarily go direct response heavy, but you, through content, generally compel people to call you. Is that right?
Yeah, my goal is I don't want to make any outbound calls other than to appear as guests on my podcast. I get people call me all day long and I talk to people. That was my
Yep,
goal, is to fill up. If you do enough outbound marketing, then your calendar will fill up on inbound phone calls.
that's right. So that's what all of us want. The problem, most of us don't put enough outbound into the world to fill our calendars up. Or if we're putting a ton of outbound out and our calendars aren't filling up, then it's time to look at our unique selling proposition. What is it that we're putting out there, hoping that it's going to fill our calendars up? And Bill's got a podcast that he runs, and you interview a lot of vendors, and some of them are in your market in California, and some of them are not. But you're just interviewing vendors with a goal of, number one, getting content out. And what's your other goal with those interviews?
Well, I think when you do an interview, there's three things that happen. One is you create content for everybody else who watches it. Two, you learn. I mean, I only do interviews with people that I want to talk to. One of my criteria is I have to enjoy the conversation. If I don't, it's boring. And I'm curious. I like to learn from people smarter than me. And then the third is the interviewee is my subject. They don't really realize, but I make it sound like I'm using them, but obviously they're in the process going to say, "Wow, this guy knows his stuff, and I need somebody who knows his stuff. I'm going to give Bill a call." So it hits those three at one time.
Yep. I would argue that it's probably hitting a fourth thing at the same time. You're going to publish that interview on YouTube and probably another platform or two or 10. Okay. And if that guest is ever Googled, I would argue that your face shows up beside theirs. So they get Googled,
Yeah.
you interview Joe Blow, the attorney, and a consumer is told you need to talk to Joe Blow. He might be able to help you. If they Google Joe, they're going to find your content. At least that would be a goal of mine with that.
Oh no.
So,
Oh,
yeah,
no, I hate that.
I know. Yeah. Using their
Sorry.
yeah. You weren't even looking for me and you found me because I showed you
How that happened?
promoted Joe. Yeah.
People say to me, "I see you everywhere online." Really? How that happens?
Right. Yeah. And that's where you've gotten into the algorithm, where the algorithm is now feeding you to the people that have connected and tied in with one piece of content of yours somehow.
That's the goal.
Yep. So, profit activator number 3 is to patiently, very important, patiently educate and motivate prospects to meet you. And I would call on Bill again really quickly. In the early days of you doing podcast and interviewing folks, and whoever just had your hand up, I want to call on you. Could you put it back up? In the early days, you were having to ask them, right? And now they're asking you. Is that right? How often are you having to chase people down versus basically review applications and review people requesting to come on your podcast?
Well, in the course of business, anybody I talk to that I want to have on, I ask them. One thing I've learned, I'm on the phone with them. I wanted to ask them at that time. I launched the second podcast, estate planning, which is how to avoid probate, so I can get 2 bites of the apple with an attorney that I liked.
Mm-hmm.
So I finish the interview. I'll say, "Oh, by the way, I have estate planning." I do reach out occasionally when I see somebody post something really good on LinkedIn that I like, that I want to learn about. I'll reach out and say, "Hey, I'd love to have you on my podcast to talk about this." And what happens in the larger firms, they have like a marketing person, and the marketing person will call and say, "I see you asked Joe to be in your podcast. Want to know more about it?" And I tell them I'm doing it. Go, "Wow, it sounds great." I said, "Well, do you have other attorneys in your firm that might be interested?" And so like I have this one firm, I just had somebody, sign on today. I don't even know who he is. I mean, I know what firm he's with, and I can look him up and figure out who he is. But because I did an interview with the founding partner at his firm, and the marketing person told this attorney, "Hey, this guy's good. You should get on this podcast." He signed up. I haven't even talked to him yet. So
Yeah. That's
Like that would be the equivalent of somebody just coming to your office. Hey, instead of you going to their office or ask them out for coffee, they just show up in your office and say, "Hey, I'm an attorney. I'd like to talk about business. How many of those would you like?" Like I'd like a line out the door if I could. I don't have that, but I got one today.
yeah. Not even knowing them, I'll take that every single day. Because the flow of leads is normally then them to us. The flow of referrals is often them to us. So I don't care if it's a brand new attorney that walks in my office and says, "Hey, I'm looking for someone like you." So that's phenomenal. Let me go to either Mark or MRK. I'm not sure if those are initials or if it's Mark.
It's just Mark.
Mark, what's happening?
Hi, Bruce. How's it going?
Good, good.
Good. Yeah, I'm just going through the probate course right now, and I'm a realtor and investor. I do flips here and there, but mostly I'm a realtor. So my question is kind of just piggying back off of what we've been talking about. So I started my real estate career just cold calling mostly and door knocking, foreclosures and whatnot. And since then, it's been pretty much almost 10 years. And right now I'm more of an inbound guy as well. And I haven't started doing any marketing to probate. But I just wanted to see what I know this question probably has been asked, but what you guys' thoughts are on if you strictly just focus on mail, how effective is that versus adding in cold calling and things like that.
Yeah, yeah. Great question. We have last week David hosted, and David for years focused pretty much exclusively on mail. He still does a lot of mail. He's added in attorney interviews and a YouTube channel and attorney networking events here recently. But for years, David was a mail person, and mail in a market like David's. And if you weren't here last week, I'd just go encourage you to listen to that on YouTube. In a market like David's, it started producing a little bit less. I wasn't here last week. I heard some of the call, so he may not have hit mail very hard, but I know David was a big mail person. What I'll say about mail is you're really going to rely on people that you're still interrupting. You're still interrupting them in their mailbox. You are still relying on them to be in the frame of mind where they are actively looking for that thing that you're mailing them about. Today, the day that they get the mail. And a lot of times we think that because someone hasn't responded to our mail piece, it's because they're not going to sell the house or they're not going to use what we've mailed them. And that's not the case. It's that you're kind of needing that mail to hit them at the right time where they're concentrated and focused on that pain point that you're offering to solve. And if you're not, then your mail campaign needs to run a long period of time to catch them at the time where they're focused on and acknowledging that pain point. So mail can be a little bit hit and miss. I never really want to do mail where I'm not going to follow up on that mail campaign for a long while, and it can get expensive. So we want to be a little bit careful when we go into mail and make sure that you have other systems built into your business that can continue to get business while mail is building your authority through the mailbox. It's very rare that you're going to send a round of mailers out and you're going to get any kind of consistent immediate response. And if you do get an immediate response, I would argue that you got lucky. And you can get lucky a lot by doing mail, but I would argue that you got lucky with that immediate response. So if I'm doing mail, I'm absolutely cold calling at the same time. I am absolutely looking at creating content at the same time. And I'm definitely working my vendor and attorney relationships at the same time. You don't have to do all of those in conjunction to mail, but you've got to have at least one of those that you're working on at the same time that your mail campaign is running. Otherwise, you could run 6 months without any positive response, and then 1 month you'll get 3.
Yeah.
And over a long period of time with enough pieces, your numbers are going to be your numbers and they're going to work out. And David, for years, got 20, 25, 30 deals a year from mail. But he would send a lot of mail and he would do it consistently. And he's still doing that. It just takes a while to build up. So if you cold call or you door knock or you do some other things, keep doing those things while mail kind of builds your credibility through the mailbox. And it might take 6 or 8 months.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. Now,
All right.
inbound mail will do inbound. I'll give you another example. You might have another question. Did I interrupt?
No,
'Cause I
no,
was
no, no, that's good.
Another example, we have someone in coaching that we were just having a conversation with about a week ago, and we decided to kill cold mail in this gentleman's market. He's run cold mail for 3 or 4 years, and we looked at the last 10 transactions, probate transactions that he's had. And I'm going to make some numbers up. I can't remember exactly what the numbers were, but he was saying, yeah, mail just isn't quite doing what I want it to do. And I've been spending a lot of time and money doing it. So we looked and I said, let's look at your last 10 deals. Where'd they come from? And 3 were from cold calls, and 4 or 5 were from attorneys, and 1 was from a YouTube video, and 2 were from other vendors or past clients. Okay. And I said, okay, so none were from mail. Okay, that's just 10 deals. And let's look at 20. And we went back 20 and none were from mail. We went back 30 and none were from mail. And this is over the course of now 2 years. And we went back 40, none were from mail. Meanwhile, he spends an hour and a half every day stuffing and addressing envelopes, and $12,000 a year mailing. He just hadn't gotten down to where he tracked what was coming from mail. Now, that is when we look at something that's not producing like mail, and I'm not here to scare anyone off of mail. I believe that mail can work. But when we look at where our business is coming from, if nothing is coming from a mail campaign that you're running or are going to run, then you need to figure out why. Is it the market? Very well could be the market. Too much competition. Maybe people don't respond to mail in a certain city or something like that. Most of the time, it's going to be because of your offer. It's normally going to be your unique selling proposition. A lot of times when we do mail, we're either too aggressive or we're too passive. One of the two. One of the two. We don't want to be that pushy salesperson, so we bury the lead, which is real estate. We bury it because we don't want to come off like we're trying to make money on their loss. And we bury it so much that there's never any compelling reason for them to call you. Or you only push. Like you only go aggressive real estate and they hate you. One of the most successful mail campaigns that I saw was a gentleman that ran about 6 mail pieces, and 3 of them came from an investment company that he owned, and he put one of his employees' names on it. And it was a short letter, and it said, hey, I noticed 123 Main Street was part of an estate. If you'd like a cash offer on it, I want to buy it. And he'd put his employee's name on it and a phone number. And they would get tons of calls. And poor Brian would have to answer those calls and just get cussed out. Just people, how dare you? How dare you? But 1 out of every 10 of them, instead of saying, how dare you, would say, this is the perfect time I need this offer. This is perfect. But they had to go through 90% of people that were just outraged that they were being very abrasive with the way that they were offering to buy this dead relative's house. Okay. On the flip side, he ran another simultaneous campaign that was very soft and offering guidance through the probate process. And then P.S., we also have a real estate service if there's anything that you need there. And it got a lot less calls, but when someone called on it, they were always happy. And most of them would say, You wouldn't believe the other letters that we get from these scumbag investors. And he would go, I know, people are just so insensitive. It was him doing the other letters. So the thing is, when you're running a mail campaign, is you kind of need to try to find a way uh, to match as many different people in your audience as you can. And you need to recognize that if someone responds to your aggressive real estate offer, they're probably going to ignore your soft concierge service. And if they love your concierge service, they're probably going to hate your aggressive real estate offer. So you need to find a way to offer both without alienating yourself if somebody's either bored or mad at your alternative mail piece. Hopefully that makes sense to everybody. I don't want you guys to just jump into mail going, hey, this is the one thing that I'm going to do, and it's going to make me $1 million. And then you spend all your capital on mail. I would not do mail alone. Ever, ever. I would not do mail alone. It would be a complementary piece to a broader campaign that I'm running.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks for the question. Hey guys, I'm butting in here with a quick ask. If you're getting value out of this coaching today, I want to invite you to check out my Probate Mastery trainings over at www.probatemastery.com. Probate Mastery is for you if you're an agent or an investor that wants to work with motivated sellers that have inherited real estate that they don't need and in many cases can't afford. These sellers are more appreciative, willing to trust your expertise, and less likely to nickel and dime you over commission or price. Why is that? They're often in the middle of a complex probate or an estate administration process, and this means that real estate is very often a burden on them, and they simply need the help. Inside of Probate Mastery, I teach you exactly where to source your leads, how to establish value, and offer your service in a way that quickly makes you, as the professional, your market's expert in the probate space. If you want to know a little bit more, go over to www.probatemastery.com. Hope to see you guys inside of the community. Thanks. That actually really leads into the step 4 of Dean's Profit Activators, and that's presenting a unique offer. I like what Alex Hermosi says. If anyone's a Alex Hermosi fan, and this Alex just rephrased it. I think Dan Kennedy and some other people have said this a little bit different, but Alex likes to say, you make an offer so good that people feel stupid saying no. And I'm actually going to give you guys an example of an offer that I hope is so good that you feel stupid saying no here in a few minutes. And it's going to be a real offer. And it's going to be an example for you. But so many of us are really passive in the way that we make our offers. So whether it be through mail, whether it be on the phone, whether it be through video content or blogs or whatever we're doing, we're just way too passive and we're boring. We go in one ear and out the other. And we do this all the time as real estate professionals. If you guys are agents, and if you've ever called your sphere of influence, I would argue that you probably have been guilty of this as real estate agents, because we call, and what have we been taught for years to say? I'm giving the Ford call, and I'm going to talk about family, occupation, recreation, dreams, and I'm going to end the call by going, oh, hey, if you ever have a real estate need or know someone with a real estate need, I'm never too busy for your referrals. And they go, okay, and then they hang up and they can't remember what you called about the next day. It's just way too passive and kind of slippery. It's not going to stick with someone. I like to do a real estate hat call where I call and I say, hey, I was wondering, I just had a couple of minutes before an appointment. I was thinking about you. I was wondering if I could put my real estate hat on real quick. And I don't do this every time I interact with people, but I'll ask to put my real estate hat on. And they go, okay. And then I describe something completely out in left field that I know has almost no chance of applying to them. So I might say, I have a buyer that's buying up in your area, and of course, I'm just going to use a town in our area. I'm in Raleigh, so I'm going to say Cary, North Carolina. I have a buyer that's looking for a house in Cary, and I am just having a hard time finding something for them. They need something really unique. It has to have a basement, a pool, 5 bedrooms, and it has to be $650,000. I don't know if you know anyone like that. Well, of course, the answer is no, but it's so detailed that it just sticks. And I've had that call dozens of times where within a week or two, that person that I talk to will call me and go, "Hey, my neighbor's selling a house. It's in Wake Forest, which is 40 minutes away, and it's 400,000 and it matches absolutely none of the criteria you told me about a few days ago, but I haven't been able to get your question out of my mind and my neighbor's selling. Would you be interested in that?" Okay. It just sticks. So I want you guys, when you think about crafting either messages that you deliver in person, on the phone, in mail, in content that you put out, I want you to think about how to how to give enough detail where it just can't leave somebody's mind, and major bonus points if there's something very unique and irresistible about that offer. This is one of the reasons why you guys see people that run guaranteed sale campaigns, or I'll pay for your probate expenses, or um, you know, cancel anytime guarantees, or things like that. These are unique selling propositions that we really need to bake into our offers. And I'm going to give you an example of one, and this is a real example, and we're going to ask anyone that's interested in this to drop. Shannon's already teased it in the chat. Drop your information in chat if you like the idea of this. We're going to start approximately every couple of weeks. We're going to start running a completely free small group coaching session. I need content. That's one of the things that I need in my business. I need content to go onto YouTube and onto blog pages and things like that. And the best way that I have to create content is by teaching folks something. So we're going to start running a series of specific topics that we run as coaching calls. And anyone that would like to join in on one or two of these free small group coaching calls, I want you guys to drop your name, your email, and your phone number in chat. And it's essentially the same coaching that I give people as part of Mastery Academy. So they pay for it. And we're going to do that. And in exchange, all I need is for you to agree to show up on camera and actually engage. And we're going to talk through in-depth prospecting techniques, in-depth marketing techniques, what KPIs you should be running in your business. We're going to create content. We're going to set websites up, different things like that. Now, the one thing that I can't do is say, hey, you can come to as many as you want. But what I will do for anyone that puts your name, your email, your phone number in chat, it's kind of an application system. We're going to take 10 at a time and offer those 10 seats to each coaching session. We'll invite you. If you can attend, you're in on those coaching sessions. If you can't attend or you're not up on the first coaching session, we'll add you to the next coaching session. So I want you guys to know that free, you get one coaching session. If anyone wants more, then I would ask that you join Mastery Academy, where we do 4 coaching sessions a week. But if you want to come to one of those and you're okay actually engaging with your camera on, and you're okay with me posting that call and the content that we get out of it on our YouTube channel, then drop your information in chat and we'll invite you. That's an example of how you can get people to opt in. I've seen a bunch of people chatting. I want you guys to take that same principle and apply it to your probate business. So what's an offer that you can make that causes the audience that's watching your video, or that's getting your mail piece, or that's getting your phone call, that causes them to actually want to engage with you, that causes them to want to give you their contact information? And that's really, really important for you guys in the probate business. It's important for me as a coach and a trainer. It's important for you to create opportunities for people to reach out to you and voluntarily give you their contact information. Okay. reach out to you with questions. And it's hard to do that when all you're doing is just cold calling. Not impossible, but difficult to do if the only thing that you're doing is cold calling. So I want you guys to try to apply that exact same principle and that exact same rule into your real estate business. And if you do, you will effectively switch your business from outbound to inbound. And I'm pretty sure every single one of us would like inbound business, right? Inbound business is a lot better than getting cussed out by connecting with someone that wasn't expecting your phone call. Now, I'm not here to tell anyone not to outbound call. My business for years has been a lot of outbound calls, but I would certainly rather someone ask me to call them or call me, even better, than me have to cold call them when they've never heard my name before. All right, and that's how we do it. All right, what other questions do we have? I have kind of reached the end of the things that I wanted to talk about today. So let's go with what are you guys doing in your business? What questions do you have? Does anyone want to share where you are? Let's go with Chris.
So I sent out about 80 direct mails last week, and I put in my probate services pamphlet. And I've been doing this probably for about 8-10 months now. And so far, I haven't gotten anything. And I've stepped up a little bit to pull the probate leads out of the local public records. My question is, I can get the prospective phone number that might be the representative, but I don't have any way to bounce that against a do not disturb list.
Sure.
Is that really a big deal, or do I need to find something to do that with?
Oh man, this is one of the questions, and I'm gonna answer your question. It's one of the questions I hate the most. It's a good question. I think that you should ask that question. I hate answering it because I don't want to ever get anyone in trouble. Personally, I would rather scrub it against a known litigator list and just cut that super small fraction out of my campaign, because there's a lot of people that don't even know if they're on a do not call list. There are carriers that are putting people on a do not call list and they haven't even put themselves on it. So I'm on a do not call list. I didn't put myself on a do not call list. I'm not sure how I ended up on there because I've found myself on a do not call list. I kind of view the do not call list as personally something that could potentially have some, as a small operator, it could have some negative impact on my business, but so could driving to a listing appointment tomorrow if somebody decides to run a stoplight. Okay, it could be bad. And I take a portion of every sale and set it aside in case anyone decides to threaten me. Okay, I've got a war chest to be able to basically pay that person to go away is essentially what it is. But I'm a small operator. I'm not doing this on a large scale where I've got big risk of getting FTC coming down on me and reviewing all my call records. With that said, I know a ton of people, big operations that cold call nationwide who've gotten painful fines. And by ton, I know a few people who've gotten very painful fines. So you kind of have to make that decision for yourself. I've made the decision that I'm going to call and I scrub out the known litigators. And I also know that I'm calling people who are in public records. And in some cases, it doesn't sound like yours. In some cases, they actually put their phone number onto their probate application. It doesn't sound.
Yeah, they don't have a field for that on the website.
Yeah. That's, if they do, then that's public record. It's the same as saying I'm on the do not call list, but my number is all over Google saying call me. So it's kind of a decision that I don't like when people ask, because I don't want to steer someone into ignoring a do not call list and then they get in trouble. Um, in all the years that we've called, I've had maybe 3 or 4 people go, "Hey, don't you know I'm on the do not call list? Don't call me again." And I apologize. I am so sorry. I definitely won't call again. And then I remove them. Okay. I fired an ISA one time that got that. And the ISA said, don't worry, we're going to call you. I don't know why. I have no idea why the ISA decided to just antagonize this guy, but I fall on my sword if anyone ever tells me that. But most people don't. Most people are pretty polite, and they might say I'm not interested, but they're still relatively polite about it. Can count on a hand, maybe 2 hands over the years, the number of people who've told me they were on the do not call list, and they always said, "Don't call me again." No problem. I will not call you again, because I that's where you definitely get in trouble. They say I'm on a do not call list. Don't call me again. You forget to take them off. That's where your risk is, in my opinion.
Right. Okay.
Yep. For those, I've got a bunch. Every time I answer that question, I usually have 1 or 2 people that get bothered by the answer. And I am so sorry. I'm kind of telling you guys what I do in my business, not what you have to do. I think it's valuable to be able to call as many people as possible, especially if you have a very valuable offer that is not confrontational. Now, if I called you and said, "Hey, I see your mom died. I want to buy the house," I'm probably going to get a lot of people that are really mad. And if they're not on a do not call list, they're probably gonna go follow through with filing a lawsuit or blackmailing me or something. And that's normally what happens with people on a do not call list. If you're ever going to get in trouble, it's usually they say, "I'm on the do not call list. If you give me $3,000, I won't turn you in." That's that's normally what happens. Um, it's never happened to me. And it's because I'm calling, I'm genuinely curious about where they are. I'm not pushy. I don't go, "You need me. I'm going to help you. I want to buy your house." I don't do any of that. I say, "Listen, this is what we do. I don't know where you are in the process." And then I ask questions. And next thing you know, we're in a conversation going back and forth. And they're not mad. I mean, they might not jump up and down and take my offer, but we have a conversation and there's just no antagonism or animosity when we get off the phone. All right. Good question though. All right. What else, guys? Anybody else?
So I'm a real estate agent in southeastern Pennsylvania outside Philly, and I've been for probably about a year or two now, just absorbing all I can about probate. I do want to get into it, and I am probably going to sign up for your probate mastery. Um, my question is, do you when you sign up for that, does it include helping set up the systems and how you guys work it in your business? And I was pulling off the county website, and it was just really time consuming,
Yeah.
finding the information, and then skip tracing and everything. So I'm sure there's better lists I can pull instead of spending all the time doing that. And basic basic how you work your lists daily.
Yes. Unless there are multiple different options for something. So if if we're teaching in probate mastery and there's kind of one way to do it,
Mhm.
we see, then we'll teach the one way, and you'll be able to see this is the system that you use and this is how you set it up. When we get to certain tools and systems and things like that, where there's a few different options, what is normally presented is, "Hey, this is an option. You might want a YouTube channel that looks like this. You might want a blog that looks like this." So it'll kind of show the different options, and it may not be full implementation of you do exactly this. It'll kind of be
Right.
the options. And then there are some other things that we get into, and in the course we go, hey, this is something that you're gonna want to do in your business, but for the sake of not making this a 200-hour course that no one's gonna get through, we're gonna suggest that you go look at this book or watch this video or watch this playlist to actually build that.
Okay.
And so there's some systems that will require some outside homework that you're not necessarily perfectly getting in the class, but it will be there.
Okay. That's fair.
One of the things that I've seen a lot of times is people get into these classes and then they never finish it because it's too nuanced. So we're at 15 hours right now in the class, and I don't want to make it more nuanced. So for the people that go, okay, I'm going to go set my website up, you'll have an outside resource that we point to. That
Okay.
might be our outside resource, and we go, hey, this isn't in the class, but here's where you go for your website. Here's where you go for your leads. Leads are
Mhm.
one of those things where there's a lot of different options for where to get leads. So here's where you go for your leads. Here's 3 companies that you should call and go check on.
Okay.
And that way you can
Sounds good.
finish the course. And if you want to spin off or pause the course and go jump on those 3 lead sources and get your pricing, go for it.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thanks for the question.
Yeah.
All right. Anybody else? We've got about 5 minutes before we wrap up for the day. What else do we have? Quick reminder, any questions, pop your hand up, please. Quick reminder, if you would like to go into the group coaching and you haven't already done so, put your name, email, phone number into chat. And what we're doing is it's going to be once every couple of weeks. We'll put together a session. It'll be on a specific topic. We're only going to take 10 people per session. So anybody that's on our list, we will call you and tell you when it's going to be and ask if you want to take one of the seats. Once 10 seats are filled up with people who can commit to being there free, you can commit to being there, you commit to engaging, you commit to having your camera on because I want the YouTube content, then we'll put you in that session. And if it's full, we'll call and invite you to the next session that we do a few weeks later. So we're going to do this. I need the training content online, so that's why we're offering that. David, how's it going, man?
Hey, Bruce. Good.
Good.
I'm out in the field this morning. So, anyway, the question I had as you were speaking was, how do you look up the potential litigators? Do you have a website that you use or?
Oh, yes. Let me find it real quick. It's not cheap. I'm gonna try to find it real quick. If I can't find it in a few quick searches, then I'll have to send it to you after the call. No.
Sure.
Um, I believe that it's Blacklist Alliance.
Okay.
Yep. I believe it's the Blacklist. Yeah, it is the Blacklist Alliance. And I think it's several $100s a month. There are some others. So, and obviously you could get 1 month and load a whole bunch of leads in there, and that be your list for the next 6 months, and then you drop it, and then when you are building your next big list, you do it again. And then there's some others. That's just the one that we've used.
Okay. And have you ever had any experience with partition sales or purchasing properties where people own 75% or anything like that?
No, yes and no. I've had a few that almost happened, and then I just got hard no from several of the other 25% owners.
Yeah.
And by hard no, I could buy the 75% owner out. But if I'm doing that, I want to make sure that the 25% owner isn't going to be a complete completely opposed to what I'm wanting. And so
Yeah.
I've had folks that through conversation we've realized this is just never gonna they're just never gonna cooperate with the only reason that I would buy that portion of the property. And I haven't
Yeah.
gone through with any of those.
Mm,
I know you've been looking
right
for
on.
that one for a little while, trying to find a solution
Well,
to.
well, yeah. Well, I do. I have. I just, and I think we're going to walk through that door this week. But it'd be nice to talk to a few people that have walked down that path before me. You know.
I don't know a lot of people who have. I think David Pinnell maybe. I think maybe he has. Not a lot of people have. A lot of people don't know about it. There is a guy in New York that does that kind of thing all the time. If he can get a really phenomenal deal, and I can't remember his
Hmm.
name. I've had a conversation with him. If he can get a great deal, and then he'll just wait out the problem. And so
Yeah.
it may be a partition sale, it may be a litigation that's happening, it may be a messy second probate that's involved. Maybe the decedent in the probate case was predeceased by a spouse that never applied for probate and has a messy estate. So they buy portions or the whole thing and pay heirs out all the time, knowing that it's going to be a year, 2 years, 3 years to clean it up, but they're going to make hundreds of thousands of dollars in 3 years when it's cleaned. And so if I was going into a partition sale, I'd probably want to make sure that it was worth the challenge of waiting on the person that probably doesn't want to sell right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Right on. Thank you so much.
Good. Absolutely. Okay, guys. Appreciate everybody being here. We will be reaching out to everyone who dropped your information in chat and wants to be in some of the coaching sessions coming up. We'll be reaching out to you guys and letting you know when our next session is. If you don't get invited to the first session, it's not personal. We're just going to go in order and try to fill one up at a time. And if it fills up and you haven't been invited yet, my apologies. There will be another one following that one, and we'll get you in something. We'll be running this probably through the summer every couple of weeks. Okay. If anyone watches after the fact, really important. If anyone watches after the fact, you should definitely comment on our YouTube or email in or go to support@probatemastery.com and email us and let us know that you would like to join in on that. It's 2026, just in case somebody finds this in 8 years and we're not running it anymore. It's 2026, so go ahead and shoot us an email if you'd like to be on that list. And as long as we're still doing it, we'll invite you to the next session. Thank you all so much. We'll see you next week.